Special privilege today of talking with Kayla Jones. I met her, I don't know, about a year ago at the Zero Zone training. She's a field service engineer for Zero Zone. And I was intrigued with her story, and so I thought she and I could have a chat. We were so wanting to do this chat, we came up and got up at what is it, 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. So, so let's go ahead and get into it. Good morning, Miss Kayla. Let me ask you a question. I was intrigued with your story that you were telling me when you were in trade school. And I just kind of want to know, how did you get into refrigeration? And tell me some of the roadblocks you may have faced as a woman in a very male dominated industry. So can you share some of that with us?
Yeah, I got in the industry at 19. I went right into trade school right out of high school. Um, I've been in the industry for 7 years, so
How old are you? That
I'm
makes you 19.
25 now. So,
That's beautiful. 25 years old, already in a trade. So you're going to be a service manager by the time you're 35. That's awesome.
but when I first got into trade school, I had a instructor basically walked me down to the electrical program, and they said, "This isn't for you. You won't be able to handle the guys, you won't be able to handle it." And I told him, "No, I got this." And I made sure I was top of that class, and I pushed through. uh, Funny thing is, I did not know what HVAC was when I first came into it. I
Mm. First of all, I want to ask you, when he told you you weren't going to make it, was that extra motivation for you to kind of tell him, pound sand, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, because I just looked at him like, you don't know me. Like, I really did not know what HVAC was, but that just gave me that extra oomph. And I ended up having him almost that whole year.
Did you convert him finally to let him know you did have this?
Actually, the very last day, he shook my hand and he apologized on that.
No way.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's the way to revenge is winning, right? That is so cool. That is so cool. So if you didn't know what HVAC was, and remember, from now on, we say R dash HVAC because R is better. Um, why did you end up here? How did you get here if you didn't even know what it was?
So actually, my first class, Hussman engineer came in and it was a woman. And that really gave me my drive. I was like, I'm gonna be her one day. So I wish I knew
All right.
I wish I knew who it was. I would love to reach out to her. But that's definitely been my drive and I'm getting there. I'm getting
Oh,
there.
yeah, 25 and 7 years. Yeah, you're getting there. All right. But I'm really interested in, um, you did you just when you were young, you just wanted to be in a trade and you fell into HVAC, or tell me how that happened.
Well, funny story. I actually wanted to be an engineer. That cost a lot of money. Got accepted in West Virginia University. It was gonna cost me $370,000.
Oh. Where
So
were you going to go?
I'm sorry,
What school were you going to go to?
West Virginia University.
Oh, West Virginia. Okay, I got a friend that went there.
And I was like, screw that. I'm gonna go on a trade. I was $25,000. I'll take that.
Yeah. And you get paid sometimes while you're going to school, right?
Yeah, yeah. I got accepted after I went to trade school. I did get accepted into the Hussman X program, Tech X program.
Well, is that how you end up in Texas?
Yes, yes,
Oh, now it makes sense because you're originally from what, Maryland?
yes, yes.
Okay, now that makes sense. How'd you like the Husband X program, Tech X? Good.
It was still fairly new when I got involved. I think I
Right.
was maybe the third or fourth class. So I'm pretty sure they came a long way, but I did love it. I did learn a lot from it. I honestly, trade school, I did not learn as much as I wanted to, especially for refrigeration in it. It was all, residential. So when I've only done supermarket. That's all I know. I got into the industry, and I realize now not everybody goes that route. So,
It's funny. Talking to a buddy of mine, he's taught they had 100 kids in HVAC in the program. 5 went to refrigeration.
wow, wow.
So you're one of the few. So good job.
Yeah, that's awesome. I it's really weird, but if you look on Google, the average age of someone in our industry is 55.
Bunch of kids. That's interesting. Did you look that up? And it really is 55 years old.
Yeah, yes.
Wow. So not only are you a woman in refrigeration, you're also young in refrigeration. So that puts you on doubly edge on the low end of that, right? The
Oh yeah.
minority side of it.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially when I first started that first year, it was really hard. You know, meeting managers at my grocery stores, they look at me and they're like, "Oh, this is a child," And then I'm a woman at that, so it was rough. They gave me a hard time, and I had to do a lot to prove myself, not just to the managers, but to all the other techs. I actually had a really hard time getting help in the beginning. A
Really?
lot of people, I guess, really didn't think I was supposed to be there, so I had to make that name for myself.
Mhm. That just makes you stronger, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I have many people tell me, you should just leave, go to the military, something like that." But honestly, I get too bored. I've looked at every other job out there. It will not give me the satisfaction that refrigeration gives me.
Now, hey, I got a quick question. So if you started at the Hussman Tech Act program, how did you end up at Zero Zone?
I did Hussman for almost 3 years, and then I actually went to the Articom group for a couple years.
Now, when you were there, you were just in a van technician running, working for Hussman, and then you worked for Articom. Which one of the Articom companies you work for?
Uh, Out here in San Antonio, we actually had a crew. There was 5 of us. We had 30 stores. It was nonstop. I worked many, many hours. I miss my crew. I still keep in contact with them. But Zero Zone reached out to me. It was just like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I had to take it.
How did Zero Zone know? Did you meet one of the Zero Zone people on site one day, or how did you get the opportunity to go there?
um, Something told me to make a LinkedIn account. I only had it for maybe 2, 3 months, and they reached out to me there. They're like, I've never really seen any woman with your experience, so I'm reaching out to you. I think you'd be a perfect fit."
Zero Zone's building up the because you're in a new pilot program at Zero Zone, right? They're just trying to build out the factory service people, correct?
We
Or
did hire 10 apprentice. I am not a part of that program. They trust me enough. They let me loose, and they put me on some industrial jobs. They put me on everywhere. They know I'll get it done. So,
so I'm kind of a CO2 guy. Tell me what you're doing with HEB and CO2.
we're working on Cascade system right now, still with HEB, but we are still seeing uh old systems going in. We're not fully going CO2 with all our grocery stores. So that's really surprising, but not everybody gets the money for that.
Not everybody's convinced that's the way to go. You have to convince them.
But that just means we're gonna have way more projects in the future. So I'm looking forward to that.
So, so I see your enthusiasm for refrigeration, and it's uplifting for me. I love to see that. Can you give me a sense? there's always something that this part really hooks into. Um, what in refrigeration really, gets you going? Because the hours are hard, the work is hard. I always tell people refrigeration's hard. So what is it about refrigeration and that you really love?
Um, that satisfaction of when, you had a whole store down and you brought that up, you know. And you've had many nights of watching that sunset off the roof and watching it come back up.
Yeah,
um,
a lot of people say that's a no go, but you enjoy that the long night hours and stuff.
yeah, I was always the one who was working at night. Crazy as that sounds, I did not mind that. But I really did get satisfaction of just being able to fix something, and I liked that aspect of you got a different job every day. You looked at something every day.
Stuck in a cubicle at the same place every day.
Yeah, I could never. I could never.
I hear you. So, it's the satisfaction. You love being able to go to a manager and go, "We're good," and getting them to sign that invoice.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I made sure to build my relationship with all those managers because that's a key aspect of it. And they know when they see you walk in, they're like, "Ah, Kay's here. You're gonna save the day." So,
No, there's nothing wrong with that. You like that superhero effect? Yeah, we all have an endorphin rush, I think, for that. So what would you tell other young people, male or female, that are looking for something to do? And even, I think you said to me the other day, you see a lot of older people coming into the trade, right? In their 30s and stuff.
yeah, I find that it's very common. Cause I like you, I like to hear other people's stories. So I'm always asking, "Hey, what got you in this?" And a lot of them, they're like, "I got bored," or "I heard it was good money," and I always support them through that. Like, it doesn't matter what age you come in. But I have been working on, if I see anybody around my age or younger, I'm always pushing them to go in the trades. Uh,
Awesome. Yeah.
so I'm just hoping to help be a face for that.
So let me ask you this question. So I'm a 19-year-old kid. I just graduated high school. I have zero idea what I want to do for a living. What would you do to sell me into refrigeration? And would you sell me into refrigeration or HVAC?
I am a die-hard refrigeration gal, so
Oh,
uh,
girl.
I tell everybody, I'm like, you can do HVAC all day long, but what I do, you'll never get bored. You're on a new site every day. You are able to look at so many different things. I tell them, hey, if this is what you want as a good career, because this is the time right now, our industry is transitioning to the new generation of techs. So
Push us out. I know what's going on.
so I tell everybody this is the time to come in
Yeah.
because it. I mean, I've been in the trade for 7 years. I'm lucky enough to see that transition.
Mhm.
Um, got to experience the old equipment, and now I'm only looking at the new equipment, which is pretty cool.
Nice thing about being a factory tech, right, is you get to see mostly new stuff.
Yes, but I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I miss really being in the field and getting dirty.
Oh, absolutely. There's a satisfaction to working with your hands and would you say one of your biggest rushes, and I think I get this from you, is when it's broke, now it's not. That's a serious hit of endorphins, right?
Yes, yes. Just to seeing like you just walk up on a site and you just see all the wires being a mess and be able to clean that up, and it's a great feeling. I love it.
Got the money. You making any money?
Great money. I
Yeah.
also. I tell a lot of the young guys that too. I'm like, right now, you're so young. By the time you're 30, 40, you will be banking if you're a great tech. But I always say, this is not a job to come to if you're lazy. This is a job not to come to if you don't want to get up every morning because there is long hours. You're going to be tired. You know, the money is there, and but you got to work hard for it.
So let me ask you this. This is something I hear from a lot of people, especially younger people. Not my age, because we didn't know anything about it. But I hear about work-life balance. Is that a little bit of a struggle at times?
Uh, with me personally, I'm a workaholic.
So this is the perfect place for you. I'm the
Yeah,
same. So same. So
uh, that is a big struggle. I've struggled with that off and on, especially being on call for the last 5 years. It was ridiculous, and there's many days I had to wake up to give myself a pep talk. There is going to be days where this industry really does get under your nail, and you wanna say you're done, but in reality you're not. You gotta just go blow off steam and go throw your tool on the roof, you know.
yeah, just don't throw them at me.
Yeah. But I I think if we all come together and we do voice to our managers, hey, I've blown out. A lot of them are understanding, but your generation of techs, y'all worked those 100-hour weeks, and it was insane for y'all. I've heard all the stories, and I mean, the most I've worked was 93 hours in a week. So I feel you out on that. Um, Last year I was averaging almost 50 to 70 hours a week.
Wow. So there's no tax on overtime.
I wonder if they're changing that. Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Not allowing it. You brought up a good point, and like you said, the baby boomers are still here, and we worked 120. I think the worst week I ever had, I think I put 135 hours in a week, an exhausting week. Right, we got maybe 4 hours of sleep a night. But do you think? So you bring a great point. Do you think as the older generation that we go, oh my God, we walked uphill both ways, right? That kind of thing. Do you think as we start to retire and some of the younger generation comes up into the service manager and owner's position, that maybe they would be that they'll work a little bit better with the technicians for PTO and for that time off for the baseball game or whatever with your kids or stuff? You think that might happen, or what do you think?
Me personally, I always voice it. I tell all my techs, "Hey, take off." Like, with my last team, I would tell them, "Hey, take off. You're tired. You're having a rough week. Talk to the manager." It's understandable. We put in a lot of hours, and that's a lot of dedication. So yes, as everybody retires, I do see that happening more. It is your generation who is like, "Oh, you're a sissy. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it."
Baby boomers.
But it is especially my generation. They don't like putting in all that hours. I'm sorry to say it. We do like that work-life balance. So, it is going to be interesting to see that transition and to really get that in the industry. We are going to need this next generation to really step up, and we need more techs.
Yeah, and because if we don't get more young techs to help you out as we retire, you're gonna be working those 140 hours. So we need people. Have you ever looked into the area to maybe go to some of the high schools and talk to some of them? Maybe go to a career day and talk, or have Zero Zone sponsor you to do some of that.
There is the Woman in HVAC group, and I know they do something along those lines. Now that I'm getting more settled into Zero Zone, I'm planning on doing that. My 1 year is coming up with them very soon. So I've just been trying to figure out my job, but I believe I would be a really good face for that young generation and be able to push them into the trade, especially with the woman.
Yeah, and but I will say this: a compressor doesn't care if you're a male or female. That compressor is heavy; it has to be changed. But when you change it, it's fantastic, right? When you hear it fire back up.
Yeah, yeah. That's the, that's the noise you want to hear at the end of the day. Once you heard that rack all completely quiet, that's the worst noise ever. But once you get it running, you're like, okay, I can finally slow down.
Yeah, yeah. And it does take a minute before the troubleshooting does slow down for you, right? Because when you're first at it, it's like, but after a while, it's just,
It was initially coming in my first couple years. I didn't get the guidance I actually wanted. But so it was a little harder on my end. The guys that were coming in after me that were younger coming from the other programs, they got a lot more training than I did, and I always voice that, but it's okay. I have the initiative myself. I'm gonna go out there. I'll take any job, and I'll learn that way. But
you know, I love the way you're attacking this. You're not sitting around, you're attacking it, and I appreciate that. I think we're running out of time. But is there anything you want to tell some of these people out there? Some of the things, young person or older person that just lost and doesn't know what he wants to do. Oh, wait, I do have another question. So you live in San Antonio. There's a lot of military in San Antonio. You've got the Air Force Base. You got Sam Houston. You've got all the military base. You think? Wouldn't that be a great thing? Do you think this trade would be a nice fit for guys that have mechanical ability or women coming out of the military to transition into refrigeration?
um, I have met a lot of military that has came into the industry. At least with San Antonio, this is a spot. There, it is full of HEBs everywhere. We got all the accounts everywhere in San Antonio, especially in Texas. It's just a great place for the industry. Um, and I do see that happening more, but I also feel like it's that work life balance thing that probably pushes people away. You
Yeah.
know.
We need to tell them that's going to be workable, right? We'll fix that because the endorphin rushes are worth it.
Yes, yes, all the way. But my advice for people wanting to come in or just the younger generation, anybody, is take that initiative. It's not going to be easy. We're constantly learning for the rest of our lives in the trade. Especially with having that true passion for it, you're gonna be digging yourself into so many different things. I didn't realize how big HVAC or refrigeration actually was until I started digging, and I was like, "Oh wow, there's so many doors I can go through."
Yeah. And it's not just your refrigerator in your house, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because every when I tell people, I'm like, what do you do?" "Oh, I do refrigeration." They're like in your house? No, a supermarket. Yeah.
I think everybody in refrigeration has had that conversation with someone. Can you help me fix my refrigerator? No, I can't. I can't help you fix your refrigerator. Buy a new one.
Yeah, if they only knew, it's almost the same price.
They have no idea when they walk in a grocery store what's going on, do they?
No, no, and it's so bad now because when I go in a grocery store, you can hear when the system's going to defrost. You hear the fans hitting the water. It's just you don't even you ignore it now, but it's just like you hear those things constantly because you have to make that ear for it.
Yeah. It's hard for you not to go, oh, somebody tell the manager. I got to put in a ticket. That's
Yeah, that's definitely been my biggest struggle. I'm like, I had to get myself out of grocery stores because I love cooking, I love food. So that was like when I first went into the industry, I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't make me hate grocery stores.
We'll say this: the last thing I want to do is go to the grocery store to buy something. Can you go to the grocery store? No, I'm not going. Which time in that? I'm not going.
We're
Uh,
looking at it every day, all day.
exactly right. All right. Well, Kay, I'm really appreciative of you getting up early and kind of talking. Hopefully, this will end up online. I'm inspired by you. I love your passion, and I love the fact that you want to. You're standing on the shoulders of my mom, and I want young women to stand on your shoulders as we continue to grow. Not only women in the industry, but the industry as a whole. We really have to push and. I think you're a great example of what we need for young people coming into the trade. So I really appreciate it. But don't push me out. I'm not ready to go yet.
Oh, yeah, that's my last thing. Your generation, pass down that knowledge. Our old equipment's still there. So that's the biggest thing because these young bucks, they do want to learn it, but sometimes older generation needs to take the initiative too. You know.
Do you ever find that some of the older guys are reluctant to help some of the younger people, or are they pretty well? Here you go, take it.
When I first started, I felt like that was more common. Now 7 years in, I think it's becoming a little easier to get that knowledge from them, but you have to go seek it.
Not a pester us, unfortunately.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Kay. And I know you and I'll be talking more. Keep working and preaching the word, right? We gotta get people in the trade.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Rusty. Thank you for having
Okay.
me.
Good weekend. All
You too.
right, bye bye.